Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Valsa Williams with the news at 9. The headlines. Two-day meeting of BJP National Executive begins in New Delhi to deliberate on key issues confronting the country. BJP President JP Nadda calls upon party leaders and workers to focus on BJP's victory in the upcoming assembly elections in 9 states. Wholesale price-based inflation eases to 22-month low of 4.95% due to fall in food prices. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal felicitates National Startup Awards 2022 winners. In FIH World Cup Hockey, France defeats South Africa 2-1 at Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar. Match between Argentina and Australia ends in a draw. And in women's cricket, India beat United Arab Emirates by 122 runs in Under-19 T20 World Cup in South Africa. BJP President JP Nadda has called upon party leaders and workers to leave no stone unturned to ensure BJP's victory in the upcoming assembly elections in 9 states this year. In his inaugural address on the first day of the National Executive meeting in New Delhi today, Mr. Nadda also asked them to learn from Prime Minister Narendra Modi the way he worked in the recently held Gujarat Assembly polls. Briefing media about the meeting, senior party leader Ravi Shankar Prasad quoted Mr. Nadda as saying that the BJP's victory in the Gujarat Assembly elections is historic and extraordinary. Mr. Nadda in his address also talked about the Panch Pran given by the Prime Minister.
अध्यक्ष जी ने आज पार्टी की ओर से बहुत गर्व से कहा, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो 5 लक्ष्य और 5 प्रण देश के सामने रखा था, फ्रीडम फ्रॉम एवरी ट्रेस ऑफ आवर स्लेवरी, holding great pride on the extraordinary tradition of India, heritage, commitment to make India a truly developed country, एकता एवं एकजुटता देश में, और लास्ट था नागरिकों में कर्तव्य की भावना भी आए.
He also highlighted the work culture of New India, citing the example of the COVID vaccination program, which provided over 220 crore doses. Earlier, ahead of the National Executive meeting, a roadshow was organized from Patel Chowk to the meeting venue, led by Prime Minister Modi. A large number of people and party workers were seen gathered along the road, welcoming the Prime Minister by showering flowers and petals on him. The two-day National Executive will deliberate on key issues confronting the country and pass resolutions on economic, political and other affairs. Besides, the BJP's organizational matters will also come up for discussion. The party will chalk out its strategy for the upcoming state assembly elections and the next Lok Sabha polls. The National Executive is also expected to extend the tenure of Mr. Nadda as the party president. Tomorrow, Prime Minister Modi will address the concluding session of the National Executive meeting. The first meeting of the G20 Infrastructure Working Group was inaugurated today in Pune in the presence of Union Minister for MSME, Narayan Rane. Mr. Rane welcomed the G20 delegates to Pune and opened the first session of the meeting. He said the government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is trying to make India the 5th largest economy in the world, and the G20 conference being held in Pune is very important in terms of the economic progress of the country. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has said that environmental protection should be the utmost priority for a good future. That is why Prime Minister Narendra Modi has kept the theme of the G20 as one earth, one family and one future, he added. The Chief Minister remarked that it is unfortunate that only a few people use most of the world's resources. Under the G20 in Bhopal, the thought session of the Think 20 meeting will play an important role in this regard, he noted. The Chief Minister was addressing the inaugural session of the Think 20 meeting under G20 at Kushabhau Thakre International Convention Centre in Bhopal. The two-day meeting focused on global governance with life values and well-being, fostering cooperation in framework finance and technology. Wholesale price-based inflation WPI for December 2022 eased to a 22-month low of 4.95%. According to the Commerce and Industry Ministry data released today, WPI inflation eased mainly due to fall in prices of food articles, especially vegetables and oilseeds. Food articles segment slipped to 0.65% in the reported period. Fuel and power rose marginally from 17.35% in November to 18.09% in December 2022, while in manufactured products it softened to 3.37%. In October 2022, WPI dropped below the double-digit mark for the first time since March 2021. WPI is in line with retail inflation data released last week, which showed CPI inflation eased to 5.72% in December. The consumer price index, CPI-based inflation, remained within the RBI's upper tolerance limit of 6% for the second month in a row. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has said the government today thinks like a startup, relentlessly focusing on newer and better ideas to improve the efficiency and integrity of systems and processes. Presenting the National Startup Awards 2022 in New Delhi today, the minister emphasized on the need for a more robust database on startups to connect them with the government, industry bodies and the public.
We need to have a good startup database. Maybe that database needs to have good keywords. Ideally, just a one-pager on the startup with contact details so that people can actually use keywords, get to the kind of startups that they want. It will help us in government procurement, for example. If I have to procure a particular thing, why should I also not look at startup ecosystem or database and quickly try and look at some of you who could help me in the service that I want?
Mr. Goyal added that initiatives like Digital India and broadband connectivity in villages drove the growth of the startup ecosystem, especially in remote parts of the nation. Mr. Goyal also applauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi's efforts to focus on speed, skill and scale in the execution of projects. The minister said it has powered many startups and unicorns. Startup India Innovation Week culminated today with the felicitation of National Startup Awards 2022 winners on National Startup Day. At the event, 41 startups, 2 incubators and 1 accelerator were recognized as winners. The 15th India-UK Foreign Office Consultations FOC was held today in New Delhi. India and the UK shared a comprehensive strategic partnership with the adoption of Roadmap 2030 for future relations. The Ministry of External Affairs said both sides discussed issues like trade and economic cooperation, defence and security, science and technology, people-to-people relationship, health and climate change. The FOC provided an opportunity to review the progress made in the implementation of Roadmap 2030 despite the restrictions imposed by the COVID pandemic. The ministry said India and the UK exchanged views on regional and global issues of mutual interest. The UK appreciated India's contribution to the UN Security Council in 2021-22 as a non-permanent member and reiterated its support for UNSC reforms. The UK commended India's priorities as president of G20 this year as it looked forward to its participation. Both sides agreed to maintain regular exchanges at political and senior official levels and hold the next FOC in London in 2024. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid homage to Tamil poet Thiruvalluvar on Thiruvalluvar Day and recalled his noble thoughts. He said, diverse in nature, they are a source of great motivation for people from all walks of life. Mr. Modi also urged the youth to read the Quran. Union Home and Cooperation Minister Amit Shah also extended his warm greetings to the people on Thiruvalluvar Day. In his message, Mr. Shah said, for centuries after centuries, the divine wisdom and life lessons taught by Thiruvalluvar have guided the path to a pious life. The world's longest river cruise, MV Ganga Vilas, reached Patna as per schedule. Chairman, Inland Waterways Authority of India, Sanjay Bandyopadhyay, said there is absolutely no truth in the news that the vessel is stuck in Chhapra. The vessel will continue its onward journey as per schedule. The cruise is on its way to Dibrugarh via Bangladesh. 32 tourists from Switzerland are reveling in the beautiful moments of the journey. The tourists visited remains of Chirand archaeological site in Saran district today. It is the first known site of the Neolithic age. The director of Bihar Tourism Department Yashaswati Mishra informed AIR the tourists of the cruise will visit different iconic and historical places of Patna tomorrow.
पटना में उनका कार्यक्रम गोलघर, नया म्यूजियम और गुरुद्वारा देखने का है। इसके अलावा यहाँ से वो सिमरिया जाएगा। वाइसराय हाउस है, उनको देखने का प्रोग्राम है और सिमरिया के जो रूरल विलेजिंग है और मेला लगता है उसको देखना है। उसके बाद वो मुंगेर जाएगा, किला का भ्रमण करेगा, योग विद्यालय का भ्रमण करेगा और उससे आगे बढ़ के वो सुल्तानगंज जाएगा जहाँ आज गैवीनाथ मंदिर जो गंगा के किनारे पर है और उसके बाद भागलपुर जाएगा।
The cruise will be in Bihar till the 22nd of this month. MV Ganga Vilas was flagged off from Varanasi by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday. Nepal saw its worst domestic air disaster on Sunday morning when AT Airlines flight NYT 691 from Kathmandu to Pokhara crashed a few minutes before landing at the new international airport. All 68 passengers on board have died in the accident. Security personnel from Nepal Army, Armed Police Force and Nepal Police and locals were having a tough time to pull bodies out from the crash site on Seti River Gorge till this morning.
The 24 recovered bodies from the crash site were taken to Pokhara Institute of Health Sciences for post-mortem, while 45 dead bodies of foreigners and unidentified bodies were sent to Nepal's capital city. The black box of the crashed Yeti airline aircraft was located and retrieved today morning. The Nepal Army brought the black box to Kathmandu and handed it over to the Air Crash Investigation Commission. The black box is a crucial device that helps determine the cause of the crash and contains the flight radar record and cockpit voice recorder. Shweta Singh for All India Radio, Kathmandu.
In our bilingual live phone-in program Public Speak at 9:30 p.m. tonight, we will bring you a live discussion with Bikash Mishra, Senior Advisor, Indian Bank Association, on expanding the digital payment infrastructure of India. Listeners can ask their queries related to digital payments, their benefits and safeguards against digital theft from 9:30 p.m. onwards tonight on telephone numbers 01123717106 and 01123314444. Repeat, 01123717106 and 01123314444. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This live program can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies of All India Radio. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.gov.in and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. In women's cricket, India beat the United Arab Emirates UAE by 122 runs in the Under-19 T20 World Cup at Willowmore Park, Benoni in South Africa today and stays on top of Group D, chasing the target of 220 runs set by India. UAE could manage to score 97 for the loss of 5 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. Earlier put into bat, India made 219 runs, losing 3 wickets. Shweta Sehrawat made a brilliant unbeaten 74 in 49 balls. Captain Shefali Verma scored 78 runs in 34 balls. Richa Ghosh contributed 49. Shefali Verma was declared player of the match. India will next play Scotland on Thursday. In the FIH Hockey Men's World Cup, France defeated South Africa 2-1, while the match between Australia and Argentina has ended in a 3-3 draw at the Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar. Earlier, Malaysia beat Chile 3-2 at the Birsa Munda Stadium in Rourkela this afternoon. In another match, the Netherlands thrashed New Zealand 4-0 at the same venue. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Two-day meeting of the BJP National Executive begins in New Delhi to deliberate on key issues confronting the country. BJP President JP Nadda calls upon party leaders and workers to focus on BJP's victory in the upcoming assembly elections in 9 states. Wholesale price-based inflation eases to 22-month low of 4.95% due to fall in food prices. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal felicitates National Startup Awards 2022 winners. In FIH World Cup Hockey, France defeat South Africa 2-1 at Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar. The match between Argentina and Australia ends in a draw. And in women's cricket, India beat UAE by 122 runs in Under-19 T20 World Cup in South Africa. That is all in the news at 9. Good night.